Alrighty, hey there, hi there. Getting the hang of this slowly but surely, maybe. May have a lot of people here just because there's nothing going on the feeds right now. And we've really missed virtually nothing today, I guess. Right? I mean, not much went on before the feeds went down. There's not any major strategy, although I guess there was some talk between Kyland and Tiffany and Claire last night, and I just hadn't seen it. So if there was any discussion about exactly who he was going to put up, I may have missed it. So if one of you guys knows something for sure that I don't know, holler at me. I still think Brittany may be in trouble, but I could be completely wrong. And the wild card's going to throw a wrench in all of this anyways. Right? I mean, we just don't know who's going to win the wild card. So we shall have to wait and see. By the way, on the off chance that you do not know me, which is very possible, hello there, Miss Dinah Jane. My name is Mike, and I am the person behind the BB Gossip Twitter. So I think many of you know that at this point, but you never know. Some strangers might be drifting by like, what the hell is this about? Yeah, I've done all kinds of things about Big Brother since it started, and this is one of them. YouTube Live is the newest thing I'm doing because they got rid of Periscope last year, or this spring, or this February, whenever the hell it was. Kai said he does not know himself. Well, he's not going to tell anybody, he said too. So I'm not sure. Well, yeah, he shouldn't, by the way, he shouldn't try to figure something out until he knows what the heck's going on with the wild card, right? And as I have said in a couple of my musings between yesterday and today, my best guess on the wild card, until I am proven different, which was probably what will happen, is that whoever wins the wild card will, if they want to use it and be safe, they'll have to switch with somebody on another team. And then the other person they switch with will also be safe. So it'll guarantee safety for the other person as well as themselves. That's my guess. Now, someone suggested maybe they'll have to spin a wheel to determine who they might potentially switch with. I just don't think they can leave one team and join another. I think there'll be some kind of a switch involved. Right, he talked to the cameras and is awaiting the wild card. And that makes sense, Lady Di. He's smart to do that, and I think people even told him to do that. Just like, wait until you know who you have to pick from. Because that's what killed Frenchie. Well, Frenchie did a lot of damage to his own game anyways. But putting his sights on Christian before the wild card did end up kicking him in the rear in the end. So I'm just hopeful, and I'm not going to see a lot of the feeds tonight. Here's real life Mike talking to you. I am driving home, and then I'm going to turn around and drive another hour and a half because I am going to a county. Well, I don't know if it's a county fair or not. It could just be a straight up steer show, like as in cattle show, as in I'm going to watch a couple of my young relatives, grandnieces as they were, or grandnephew, show steers, show cows, lead cows around a ring, because they do those kind of things here in Indiana. So I'm basically going up to see family and going to hang around with them for a little bit and then drive home. So I'll be keeping tabs on the feeds, but I'm not going to be able to be grilled to them, which means I may miss a lot of this kiss the ring ceremony if it happens when it happens. But I would hope that we'll get to see it. Oh yes, Lady Di, 4-H is still around. It's still around and going strong in some places. I was never in 4-H. I was in scouting, Boy Scouts. Two of my sons were in what's called FFA. It's not Future Farmers of America anymore. It's just called FFA. Two of my kids were heavily involved in that, and that's kind of close to 4-H, but not really. One of those two was also a what's called a state officer for FFA the year after he graduated from high school. So he spent an entire year representing the state of Indiana for the FFA and going around the state talking to people. And then he went on to college. So yes, 4-H is still a thing for sure. And as a matter of fact, the grand niece that I'm going to see 2 years ago, she actually shows, she showed different kinds of cattle, okay, different kinds of cows, right? You've got your black cows that are called Black Angus. And you've got Holstein cows that are dairy cows. And believe it or not, most people don't think of dairy cows as being show cows, but there is an event for showing dairy cows. And 2 years ago, she had the state champion dairy steer for Indiana. So you got that going, you know. Anyways, I digress, which is normal. Right now, we're just waiting for the wild card competition. We do not know who's playing other than Frenchie. Frenchie was going to play, and then it is one person from the other two teams that are possible nominees. What is it? Brent and who all could be playing? I can't remember now, and it doesn't really matter. We just have to wait and see. I think Xavier was eligible. Brent was eligible. Alyssa was eligible. Sarah was probably eligible. But they were going to do a draw to see who could play. So they get the wild card competition and then have to make that decision on if they want to use immunity, but they'll have to give up the current team they're on, I guess, to use it. Once the feed comes, hopefully that's all we're waiting on. Hopefully the feeds come back and that will have just ended. And then everyone will be scrambling to talk to Kyland and make their pitches to try to make sure that he doesn't nominate them. That will be the next step. And we call it, and I don't mean to be repetitive, but we call it the kiss the ring ceremony because it's kind of like, oh, you come kiss the ring of the king or the Pope. You know, you pay homage to the head of the household and kiss up to him. So that's usually fun and entertaining to watch, at least for a little bit. It depends on who's doing it and how it goes. But you come and watch all the different people come in and see how they handle talking to the head of household. And you'll see those videos occasionally on CBS. And then we'll have hopefully a better idea on who Kyland is likely to nominate. Kyland's in a bit of a pickle, again, just kind of like Frenchie, because his alliances that he's in and his team that are all safe now, which is Tiffany and Claire, he doesn't have a lot of people to pick from. If he only picks from people that he's not in an alliance with, then he should be nominating Brittany and Derek X, and I just don't think that's going to happen. So he's going to probably nominate someone on an alliance. How is Frenchie handling not being head of household? Oh, I think he's scared. He's worried. He's paranoid. That's kind of why he kind of pushed to be allowed to play in the wild card competition. That's why we knew last night that he was going to be playing in the wild card competition, because he's worried about potentially getting nominated. Now, I did see a comment that apparently Frenchie was saying, let people think that Brittany is going to play in it rather than me, so people don't try to play and beat me out. I don't know. Seems a bit extreme, but then again, it's Frenchie. So again, my name's Mike from BB Gossip from Twitter and other things, and I am about to enter what I call the dead zone. Yesterday, I lost connection several times going through this area, but it was because there was a lot of vehicles coming the other direction due to a traffic accident, and I think the cell tower was totally oversaturated with connections. I'm hopeful not to lose you guys in this little zone, but if I do cut in and out, just know that it'll come back. Just hang in with me, and or go away if you don't want to. Brittany wanted to play in it. Well, of course Brittany wants to play. Brittany's worried too. Brittany thinks she could be nominated, and as I said, she very well could be one of the people to go up. The other thing was the have-nots. So the have-nots are Hannah and Derek X and Christian, and who's the last one? Who's the last one in that team? I can't think of it, but that's okay. They're the have-nots, and they volunteered, except for Hannah wasn't notified that they were going to volunteer. So she's a little bit behalf. We didn't get to see that last night because they had the feeds off. But it sounds like it was strictly a head of household has to decide, and a bunch of people volunteered. So what's the point in that? If you let the people volunteer to be have-nots, what is the point? Any other random questions? Because we've now reached the Q&A portion, since a lot has gone on all day long. But I am able to talk about a bevy of topics. Pretty much, I'd say ask me anything, but then someone will be a smartass and ask me something I have no clue about. But and I have to start to wonder, oh, am I in a bad zone because no one's typing? The other thing that I miss is the hearts from Periscope. There's nothing equivalent to hearts from Periscope on here, which would let me know that even if people don't feel like typing, they could still tap and give me a heart and let me know that they were alive, that I was not just talking to myself. Which I sometimes wonder if I'm doing. But then I see the statistics on YouTube and it's like, no, a few people watched. I mean, it says I'm at 17 people right now. Hello, Holly. How are you? I did get another patron subscriber today. There you go. There's the hearts, Lady Di. Perfect. I did get another patron subscriber today, so that was nice. I need to thank that person. If on the off chance you're here, or if any of my patron subscribers are here, thank you. It's appreciated. Is Kylan and Darian and Derek X still close, or will he nominate him? I just want to say I like you on your own. I just like you. In other words, Colette was annoying. Lisa, I know that's where it's definitely different strokes for different folks, and I know that I think there are people that love Colette and were bored to tears by me. So we had different audiences in some ways. I'm glad you're here and listening, and I hope I keep you entertained. As far as Kylan and Derek X go, they're not as close as perhaps some people would like them to be. I think that, I think Tiffany, Claire, I think some of those people are kind of hoping to kind of pull Kylan in with them as well as Derek. So, and Kylan did kind of imply that he's not going to go after Derek because he did save him with the power of veto. Well, thank you, Dick's Gun. It's a beautiful sky if you say so. It's kind of overcast and it's rained a lot, but I'll take it. So I'm really fired up about. I like Derek X a lot. I really do, and I said it this morning that that I would like to see Derek and Tiffany become a really strong pair. I don't know if I really though. I think Tiffany's an extremely strong player. I would love to see Tiffany win it all. I'd love to see several people win it all. I don't really dislike anyone that much in the house right now, although I am starting to form opinions where it's like, I don't really care if they go, kind of a thing. And so, but Tiffany is one that I want to stay around. Derek is one that I want to stay around. I want to see Claire stay around the house. I would like to see Derek. I would like to see what his game actually holds for him. Others that it's like, okay, I've seen your game and I don't need to see a whole lot more of it. Maybe Frenchie. I don't dislike Frenchie, but he played so hard that first week. It's like, I don't know if he can get himself pulled back up to where he's got it going. I'm not a particular fan of Brent But I think that others are really starting to see through him. So he may not last long, but I also think he has the potential to have a good game. Ditto on Derek. Yeah, my biggest concern and what I said this morning was that Derek, he doesn't know the game. He's very intelligent. And I want to see him just get a little bit tighter grasp on the game and have Tiffany team up with him and help him through it and not just keep him along for the ride and then dump him. Because I could see Tiffany going like, you know what, Derek, I'm not keeping you, you're gone. Is there methods to Frenchie's madness? So Frenchie, and for some people they've heard me say all this before, but that's fine. You hear the same repeated things on Big Brother live feeds all the time too. My general take on Frenchie is he wanted to please everyone last week. He really didn't want to single anybody out, but he also wanted everybody on his team and to work with him and have alliance with everybody. But the second you crossed him, he's like, okay, I'm done with you. And oh yeah, I keep forgetting Hannah. Azah, I'm not as crazy about just because I haven't seen. I just don't feel that she's very strong right now. Message retracted. I wonder what that was. Azah, I'm kind of like, but I don't dislike her. I just haven't seen a lot from her. But back to Frenchie. I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's well-meaning. But I also think at the same time that he played so hard that he dug himself in a deep hole and he made too many promises and then it tore him up. But I do think part of it was he didn't want to make any enemies. And by trying not to make many enemies, I'm retracting. And by trying not to make any enemies, he actually made several, like Azah, his own teammate, because he wasn't telling her anything. He was talking to everybody else, but not her. That really ticked off Azah. Or is it Azah? I guess I'm saying Azah, but I think it's Azah, or that's what I think, or Asa. Well, apologies to anyone who knows how to pronounce her name correctly. I may be mangling it, but I'm doing the best I can. So, as you see, you ask a question, I have opinions. I should write down a bunch of topics and just start spieling them out, just going down the list and talking about individual things. Yes, Tiffany, Claire, Hannah, Asa, Sarah, and DX want Kyland in an alliance of 7. Well, so back to Frenchie again. Someone said that they thought he was a diehard fan, but he's played too hard too fast. Okay, this is where I'm going to climb up on my own little soapbox. Not that I am any kind of an expert whatsoever, all right? But those of you that have known me for a long time know that last year during the pandemic, last May, I actually came across a game that was being played online called Sequester. And I wish I could tell you, you can find them on YouTube now, but the actual games have been taken down. Liquidated took them down for, it's for messy reasons that I would hope someday they'll come back. But for now, they're down. However, there is a edited version of my game, of one of my games, and there's other games out there that are edited versions. Plus, there's me on Periscope watching some of these games. But what Sequester was kind of an online version of Big Brother. You went around from room to room, from different rooms within kind of like a Zoom meeting, except for you jump from Zoom meeting to Zoom meeting, and you would talk to people, and at the end of a round, you would nominate people and vote people out, right? And you started with like 20. Initially, it was 18 to 20. Then it was up to 20. And I played one game where it was 24. By the way, I placed third in the one that it was 24. So I was very proud of that. But the very first game I played, was on May 8th of last year, and I played it with several people. Those of you that watch Rob Has a Podcast or Puya or any of them, Lavina was one of their people last year that would join or would comment. She was on that cast with me. I consider her a good friend now. Jasprit would come in here occasionally. He's a friend. Jacob is another one that pops in occasionally. But so there's several people that I met on that cast, as we call it. But we played that version of Sequester. And so you go in, you don't know anybody in theory. Now, more towards the end, everybody knew each other. But this was the thing where most of us did not know each other, or at least kind of knew of each other. But I knew no one. I knew absolutely no one. And a few others of us knew absolutely no one. And you sit there first of all, you sit there for an hour and you don't talk to anybody. You just stare at three other people on your screen. And then you go live and you have this room of people you're talking to. And you start to jump from room to room, and you're trying to make deals and make alliances and promises and final twos and this and that. I've got you. You're good with me. And you're also outright lying to people. So it gave me a totally different view of Big Brother. I felt like, oh my God, this is kind of what it's like. You're in there, you think you know what's going on. The problem is, I was in one room and there were 4 other rooms where people were talking that I wasn't in, so I didn't know what was going on. And I think that's kind of what got to Frenchie. You get really paranoid, really excited, really agitated, and it just got to him. And so I went into my first game of Sequester, and I played very hard. I went out very aggressively, not trying to attack people, but I was also we need names, we got to talk about things. What are we going to do? What's going on? And I would jump around from room to room. Now, I did okay. I made the jury, as it were. I did not win, didn't even come close to winning. But I got to the top 10, or the top 9, whatever it was. And then I got voted out. I did not see the vote out coming. I was blindsided. Why? Because every room I would go in, everyone would tell me I'm perfectly fine. Oh yeah, you're good. Yep. Oh no. And I would say a name and they'd say, yep, sounds good. They would tell me anything I wanted to hear, and the next thing I knew, I had been evicted and I was out. So I think that's kind of what happened to Frenchie. I think Frenchie went in so hard. He's having so many things on his mind. He's trying to please people, and it really is all you're doing. And I only played this game. This game that I played lasted about 6 hours, which is actually a really long time to play a game like that. But in 6 hours, oh my gosh, the mental hoops and stress you go through trying to analyze this and figure things out. So I get what Frenchie went through, and I don't, as much as we laugh and make fun of it, I don't horrible game. I think he just got in over his head and went too fast and tried to keep too many people happy. And he honestly didn't want to get rid of people, and he made mistakes, and it bit him in the tail. And so I have sympathy for him. I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he was, I do think another one of his issues is that I do think he's playing to the camera a little bit, and he's thinking a little bit too hard about what Sequester that I played on May 8th. There was some things we did where a lot of us knew we had to play for the audience, because the audience was watching, and they were involved in a couple of things where they would do votes. And we knew it's all about pleasing the audience. Can he survive? Well, what's survival, Miss Dinah? How far does he have to go to consider surviving? I don't think he's in trouble this week right now. So is that surviving? I'm not sure. I don't think anyone's ever going to... I don't know if anyone's ever going to trust him too far. I mean, Tiffany said, I don't really trust Frenchie, but I'm going to tell him what he wants to hear to keep him on my side, because it's not going. All right, we're going to drop. I'm going to lose a lot of people right now. It said I had a connection issue, so I may be chopping and cutting out on you guys. I don't know why it's doing it here, but so be it. So for those of you that I don't know if it's cutting out or staying or whatever, so I'm going to do a little bit of a loop here because I don't know when I cut out. I'm back. Yeah, so I try not to leave, trust me, and where I'm at, I don't expect to usually drop. So Frenchie, the people that Frenchie nominated are kind of his allies. So it's going to be hard for Alyssa to go up and say, I'm putting you up, Frenchie, only because you put me up. Now, she might do that, but Alyssa seems to be trying to align herself with Frenchie. And the other person that's still in the house that Frenchie nominated is Kyland. Now, I don't know. Maybe Kyland will find it in him to put up Frenchie, but I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. I think it was, again, Tiffany that was saying Frenchie needs to know that, or Kyland needs to know that Frenchie was mad at him for complaining about being a pawn. And she wanted Derek to tell Kyland, Frenchie was trying to target you, or said we should target you this week because of the way you acted when he put you up. So in my perfect world, I will tell you this right now. I am team, and I've said this already, but I'm going to go through it again right now. So the people that I'm rooting for as it stands right now, probably Claire. Well, number one, Tiffany. I think Tiffany is like so. She's not done anything to tick me off, and I'm enjoying her, and I think she's really sharp and smart. And hey, you know what? She's the oldest one in the house, so let's have the oldest person in the house win. So Tiffany, Claire, Derek. Again, I've said those three. I'd love for those three to work together. Kyland, I'm okay with. I'm not like going there, Kyland's amazing. I think Kyland's a bit naive about stuff, and I think he's trying to be a people pleaser. But I like Xavier. Hannah. I keep forgetting to say Hannah. Hannah has said some things that have caught me, and I've been like, okay, wow, she knows what's going on. I just haven't seen her that active yet in an alliance, other than she's not even technically in the cookout. She was kind of an invited member. So I haven't seen her as actively involved in strategizing and campaigning. And I know she knows the game, and I know she's talked to people. But I like Hannah. I don't dislike Sarah Beth, but at the same time, I don't know if I think Sarah Beth is going to, knock my socks off or anything. There's a lot of people I don't dislike, but at the same time, I'm not like, I want them to do great. I won't be upset if Sarah suddenly lights it up and tears it up and does great. The only people that I'm right now, I'm like going, no, please. Probably, well, definitely Brent. I've already stated that several times. I'm not a big Brent fan. I'm still trying to figure out Asa. Yep, Hannah's very smart. I'm still trying to find Asa. And again, it's not that I dislike Asa, but I don't know if she's going to be strong enough to play the game. She seems a little bit reserved and pulled back. And I'd love her to prove me wrong. I'm going to forget some people here. Hi, Anna. Yeah, I've been live for like 20, almost 30 minutes, but I did just have a drop and reconnect, so maybe that re-notified people. Anyways, who else? Can somebody tell Brittany to take it down a notch? I wish they would, but they won't. The yelling in the diary room last night was like, oh God, Brittany, come on. I don't dislike Brittany, but I don't care for her either. I just, no. Who else? I'm not a big Whitney fan, and I don't have anything in particular. Obviously, a couple things have come out that have been like, I don't know. I like Derek. I like Derek F. I want to like Derek F more. I do. But I haven't quite seen it yet. So I don't dislike Derek F. But I'm not seeing Derek F do things that are making me go like, ooh, I want to see him tear it up. If this makes sense. I'm still somewhat of an Alyssa fan. I think she's making some really bad choices. And I may be a bit naive here. But I still kind of want to root for her, but I don't like that she's being led down the path by Christian and and Frenchie, and there's Christian. I'm Christian I kind of did like, but I'm not kind of sure about anymore. Of course, when any of these people target the people that are at the top there that I'm talking about, if they start saying things about Tiffany or Derek or Claire, well, then I'm going to be like, I can't like you as much. So if they're going to target the people I like at the top, I'm going to like them less. So keep that in mind. That's why as you get down to these lower names, all they have to do is start speaking ill of the people that I first talked about, and they're going to drop further and further down. I can't think of anybody else right now. So I got 15 people in the house, and I know I didn't name 15 people. But, well, I said Whitney. I'm Whitney. I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of iffy on her. So, I mean, I could end up being fine with Whitney. But she could also very easily say 2 or 3 things that would make me just shut down completely on her. And she's kind of, you know, I don't know where she's at with the people that I've talked about previously. She and Alyssa, Whitney and Alyssa, are hanging around with the boys more than they are with the girls, which means they're kind of going against the girls. And since a lot of the people I've been naming as really liking, especially Tiffany and Claire, are girls, then she might hurt her case by targeting them. And Derek has been an easy name to throw out by a lot of people. And as I said, I would kind of like to see Derek do well. So that's a problem. I don't know. I'd say number 1 right now is Tiffany. And I really like Claire too. And I would love to say Claire's my number 1. But right now, Tiffany is just showing me a little bit more than Claire. And I'm really enjoying Tiffany. So there you go. I'm almost home, guys. Those of you that came in late, you can rewind this when it's posted and watch it if you want. I will get online later and say what's going on. I don't know if, obviously the feeds aren't back yet, or somebody would have said it. They're doing the wild card competition. Hopefully we'll have some time in between the wild card and the nominations to see what Kylan's going to do. I said I think Brittany's in trouble, but I think a lot of it depends on the wild card competition. And however this goes, if the winner gets to switch places with somebody else and they get safety, I'm not sure how it's going to go. All right, that's it. I'm literally got to jump out of one car and into another, so I'm going to cut this off quick. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you to anybody here that's a patron, especially. You can always become a patron of mine if you like. You can go to patreon.com/bbgossip. Okay, DX, well, good thing. All right, I got to go. Go to patreon.com/bbgossip if you'd like to become a patron. All right? Got to go. Thank you, everybody. Good to talk to you. Be well and have a good weekend if you don't hear from me.